What's up, you guys? Welcome back to Brunch with DESB. I'm your host, Des, also known as DESB, and today the B stands for very pregnant. All right? We are officially over 37 weeks, and I am close to being tapped out, okay? I'll tell you guys that much. It has definitely been quite the past 2 weeks, and you know what? I'm also a very late bitch because I actually didn't even show up for you guys last week and I didn't even make a podcast, and we'll talk about that in a second. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and put a massive disclaimer on not just this episode, but really any episode to come in the next couple weeks. Number one, could I even be here? The answer is I don't know. Number two, am I out of breath? The answer is absolutely yes. Okay. I actually had a client even reply back to me and was like, oh my gosh, you're getting so close. I can tell because I remember being at the end of pregnancy and being out of breath too. And I was like, man, I really thought I was covering my trail pretty well. I wasn't. So I'm out of breath. And honestly, if that's annoying to listen to, I don't blame you. But genuinely, there is no other way to go about it. I'm trying to hold the mic away. Like, I'm trying not to make it too in my space. I'm trying to relax in even just the way I'm sitting to, promote just like vibes. And it's just not happening, okay? This baby is quite literally, right now it feels very low, but it's still, it's a full baby, okay? I even read the Bump app this past week and it was like, your baby's pretty much full length, full size. It's just more of like fattening them up. So that's kind of where we're at right now. But I'm feeling pretty delusional because it is 37. Like I said, I'm 37 weeks. And I just really feel so confident that I'm going to give birth next week. And it's, it sounds so funny. But the way that I feel like I'm going to go at 38 weeks or 39, I'll give myself 39. There's no way I'm making it to the end of June. And I don't know why I've said it for the past couple months. June 25th. I don't know what the hell that has to do with anything in my life. It's no one I know's birthday besides one of my clients. But it just has been a date that has called to me the past couple months. So I'm just going to stick with it. So by the 25th, I'm fucking out of here. Therefore, will that technically be like next week? I don't think so. But regardless, point being, I feel like I'm so delusional of getting this pregnancy, manifesting a positive pregnancy experience, and then being able to be like, oh yeah, and I'm going to like deliver early. Like, I feel like I've just been in such control when in reality, like, it's just worked out for me. But mentally, I feel like I'm calling the shots. So I'm just going to kind of like go with that. But with that being said, we have a really good episode for you guys today. Do we? But do we, Des? I don't know. I do want to talk about a summer of no friendship on the horizon for me, as well as just kind of talk about friendship in adulthood / specifically motherhood. But if you're not a mom and you're just, hey, you're just in your single girly stage or you're just married, this is still an episode where we're going to be talking about just like friendships and seasons of loneliness, because we all experience them. And oftentimes it can happen from moving across state, taking risks, going new places, genuinely just like growing apart from people and knowing that that's okay. And I think a lot of times what has to be so normalized is like the idea of like, oh, the only reason you lose friends is because you're a bad friend or they're a bad friend. It's like, no, not really. There are just different seasons of life. It's kind of like breakups. Why did you break up with that person? It's like, doesn't mean that one of you even did anything wrong. It just, you maybe grew apart. And so I just kind of want to encompass a total episode of just kind of relationships, and specifically for me, kind of talking about my experience going into this summer, what I'm expecting, and just kind of being in a friendshipless summer, a relationshipless summer, whatever the vibes are. So before we kind of dive into some topics, I do want to talk about a series that I've been watching too. I do need to take a drink because that's the one thing that's going to get me through. I am wearing the new BFIT merch, the Sprint for Summer merch, along with the hat. It says, "Can you keep up?" which is, so cute. It reminds me of Beyonce. Can you keep up? Baby, please, I lose my breath. Save me my to lose. do we even know? What does she say? I'm going to look it up. Can you keep up? I've made up the chorus of that song my whole life. Yeah, literally I've never fucking sang this right. Can you keep up? Baby boy, make me lose my breath. Bring the noise, make me lose my breath. Hit me hard, make me lose my... The way that is me right now. Yeah, okay, baby boy, make me lose my breath. Definitely have said that right. Bring the noise, make me... I can't say I've said that right. Hit me hard, make me lose my... I don't even think I've said hit me hard right. Am I a fucking imposter? Wow. If you've actually sang this song correctly, Lose My Breath by Destiny's Child, please let me know. It's one of those songs where I'm pretty sure I've sang it wrong my whole life, and that's okay. All right, let's take a drink. I'm drinking out of my Hydro Jug. We have new travelers coming. Can we just take a second to just sit in this moment we're in, wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, and just find, what are we going to hyperfixate on that is positive right now in our life? What are we going to hyperfixate on? Because as much as I'm feeling positive, I think I'm also just feeling a ton of emotions. I'm feeling extremely overwhelmed. I'm starting to get scared. I'm not, I'm trying not to scare myself. I don't know. Just, we need to hyperfixate on something positive. So what is that for you right now? For me, not finding anything positive. For me, I am hyperfixating on the positivity that I am getting this done. Okay, because last week was a really hard week for me, and I was incredibly upset with myself that I did not get my podcast done, because I've never just not fucking done that in over 4 years. And it really weighed on me for a minute. But then it was really nice to also just not do it. Honestly, it was really nice. I'm not gonna lie. It was nice to have a break, legitimately have a break. So I'm hyperfixating on the positivity that I'm getting this done, that I'm showing up, and having you guys to talk with. Okay, that's my hyperfixation. So first things first, I just want to talk about one series I started watching on Netflix and give a little thought process to. So I started watching the 7M Dancing with the Devil documentary on Netflix. The way that it re-fired me up and re-pissed me off about religion was insane. If you guys have not watched it yet, you must watch. It's kind of, how would I put this in TLDR? You have a religious church, and the pastor created and founded a management company. Through this management company, and if you guys don't know what a management company is, it's basically if you're anyone on social media nowadays that has millions of followers, hundreds and hundreds of thousands, whatever, if you can make money off of Instagram, TikTok, whatever, management companies now want you, they want to manage you, they want to book you for talent, right? It's kind of like booking you as an actor, right? They want to book you for stuff so you get paid. But what does that mean? It means that they get paid, okay? So it's kind of like having an agent as a pro athlete, okay? They get a part of your earnings. Most management companies take anywhere from 20 to 30%. So say that you made $10,000 off of a post. They take $3,000, you net $7,000. Okay, or whatever, right? I'm just making a fucking easy math, because let me tell you, I cannot be doing that up here. So they founded a management company and got a hold of a bunch of these big TikTokers and went forward to then create almost like a Hype House 2.0. And if you guys know the Hype House, you know. If you don't, fucking Google it, please. With that, they then began to indoctrinate them naturally into this church. And the church was called Shinika. Fuck, I can't remember. It was a weird name though, and I was like, I wouldn't even attend that church. It was just already giving me negative energy. So these people become affiliated with the church while also just being managed virtually by the church. They're forced to live in a certain place. They all live together. They have to go to these meetings. They have to go to sermons. They have to, all this stuff. So little do they know, from becoming just a TikTok star, they're now part of what ended up being this religious cult. And who was profiting the most? It was the fucking pastor. It was the church, quote unquote. It was the people in the church. And it just rubbed me so wrong because, number one, this is like real time. Some of this is still happening. This guy, I think as of only maybe a year or so ago, was actually even served papers like in a lawsuit. So it's a very new age cult, which is crazy because we look around nowadays and we're like, how the fuck could you fall into a cult? Like, you guys are crazy. Oh my God, it's 2024. And in reality, there are cults everywhere. Little do they know they're a part of a cult, and they've basically started to like sign away not only everything that they're making in terms of money, but part of their life. So one of the sisters actually was, it had kind of had to do with these Wilkins sisters. They were really big on TikTok, and quite literally I remember seeing them back in 2020, 2021, etc. That's kind of when this thing started to take over. So one of the sisters kind of, I want to say the word vanished, but she went away and just kind of sunk knee deep into this cult. And I mean, quite literally, I do believe it's a cult. So regardless, they've had like no communication with her, no knowing of like what she's doing. And it's a conflicting documentary. There's a lot of sides. There's a lot of parts of the story, whatever. So I highly encourage you to watch it. But the point of it is, in what I kind of took from it, was the way that they were using religion to kind of manipulate these people to give, to tithe, to give more of their money, to, you know, have to be established in the church or else they couldn't be managed, all of these things. And these were young people who had no idea. They just stepped into this fame that was like they didn't even know was coming for them, and then they're manipulated in this way. And it was just incredibly sad. It tore apart so many families. There was also some sexual abuse from even the pastor itself, himself, which again comes down to the manipulation of authority, the power dynamic. And then, you know, oh, well, I could never say that the pastor did this to me because no one would believe me, XYZ. And just, it was a crazy documentary. So I didn't even finish it yet, but you kind of get the gist of it. And so I'm really anxious to see how it actually like ends. I think I have half of like the episode 3 left over, but it was just one of those things that kind of, again, put in perspective for me of really continuing to navigate my own way in spirituality and religion. I don't even like the R word of religion. You know, it's like I just don't relate with that word anymore. Like, I just feel like it's so toxic to me. I love the word spirituality, and I do think that believing in a higher power, whether it's God, whether it's, you know, whatever you think, spirituality, like, it still falls under that. And I have gone my whole life, and I've had multiple episodes on this, I've gone my whole life only ever knowing of God, Jesus, Holy Spirit. You know, Mary had Jesus, and, you know, blah, blah, blah. Very Christian raised. I would argue maybe the word Baptist. You know, that's kind of where I've come from. So to be in this spot right now, even in my life, like, this is something I don't even really venture into conversation with my family about, because it's not something I'm willing to battle right now. Like, you know how they say, like, oh, like, pick your battles, you know, whatever. Like, that's not a battle I'm willing to go into right now. And it's something that would probably make my grandma, like, keel over. So I just don't talk about it. But I just continue to kind of navigate in my own soul, in my own mind, in my own, I don't want to say research, because quite honestly, I'm not researching shit anymore. But when it comes to when I feel called to participate or to look up or to learn about something, I will. And that's kind of how I'm approaching it. So if you guys haven't watched the Dancing with the Devil TikTok documentary yet, you have to. It was very, very crazy. I will say that much. There really is nothing worse than being mid-podcast and hearing on the baby monitor, "Mommy, wipe my butt." Boy. So I mean, you guys can probably tell because I kind of readjusted my chair, but I had to go upstairs and wipe an ass during nap time and then come back down. So anyways, Dancing with the Devil TikTok, you know, you guys got to watch it, okay? Also, I realized I never really mentioned what this is. I think it'd be too loud if I turned it on, but it is my, like, portable fan. Oh my gosh, that could put you to sleep, bitch. But yeah, it's a portable fan. It comes right up to my face. Like, I've been going to bed with this. I've been relaxing with this. I've been having this outside, and I did have it on for a minute when I was cleaning the house. I got it off of Amazon. It was like $10. So worth it. I figured it'll be good too for postpartum night sweats, which I am literally not looking forward to. I'm so nervous for the postpartum period. Just knowing knowing how that goes. So anyways, we'll talk more about pregnancy update here in a second, but I did want to update you guys on a few launches. Number one, Paragon launched on Thursday or Friday, I believe. I don't remember. It's the 7th. I think it was Thursday. As always, code DESB for 11% off. It was the Solstice collection, which was actually really pretty. Rec Stretch and Air Silk. Love Air Silk. One of my favorite fabrics. Between that and Rec Stretch. I like Rec Stretch. It's one of my faves. And that's even what I did my collaboration in because I do love it so much. I love the performance base of it. But every launch they do in Rec Stretch, I feel like the sizing is so different. Like my launch sizing for Rec Stretch was different than like other variations of Rec Stretch, which is just confusing to me. So it kind of turns me off. With Air Silk, I feel like it's pretty consistent, true to size, or you can size down to be even like more compressed. And I like the fit. Rec Stretch is also a really hard pregnancy fabric as you like stretch and grow. When Reluna and Air Silk will kind of like contour to you. So the Rec Stretch bodysuits were good. I got larges and there was just like no upper support. It felt like I was swimming in them. Even in a medium, I was like, holy fuck, could I do a small? And again, I thought Rec Stretch, typically you're like, holy shit, I wish I sized up. And I feel like for this collection, it was like, did I size down? I don't know. I just have been really weird with Paragon lately with the sizing. Yes, I am pregnant. So I'll take that part on me. But I do also feel like some people, even in the comments and like reviews I'm reading, are a little bit iffed over like their sizing as well because they seem to switch sizing almost like every launch. So there's that. Petula has some stuff cooking. I'll tell you that much. And then we also have the BFIT membership. I'm actually doing something really special this year. By this point in time, I think it's been shared on the Instagram. It's been kind of the plan. But I am doing something special for the whole month of June to honor you guys. So if you want to go ahead and pay for a full year upfront of the BFIT membership, you can get up to $160 off in total. So you'll be paying technically $15 a month if you sign up for a year in full, okay? That is with code BFIT. Well, I'm sorry, I think it's BFIT or 1 year. I'm sorry, all caps, 1 year annual. You lock in your membership for the year because you pay up front, but that equals out to $15 a month instead of $29. If you want to lock in a 12-month price, I'm doing 12 months, $12 off. And again, it's this month only. So instead of paying $29, you pay $17 a month. That is good for this month only if you join. If you do cancel at all during the year, you lose that pricing. So if you do want to utilize the 12 months for $12 off for 12 months, you can be a member that full year and get that full capacity. But if for some reason a month or two in, you're like, I'm going to cancel, you're right back up to $29. So it's up to you, but it is something that we're doing for the month. So again, that is code all caps 1 year, ONEYEW, YEAR. Why did I say YEW? YEAR, 1 year. Or for the annual $15 a month, meaning you pay though in full, it's 1 year annual. Okay. So I did want to do that for you guys and kind of celebrate the BFIT membership for a year. There are some changes I plan to make to the BFIT membership. I kind of want to get away from the month-to-month workouts and host a plethora of like plans. So you would have kind of this collection of plans and then, you know, maybe mini challenges or mini like 6-week programs. I shouldn't use the word challenges. Very different. Mini challenges. And then I went ahead and used the word anyway. That's good. Good for me. There would be like 6-week programs, 8-week programs, 4-week programs, 3-week programs, maybe like some core workouts. Like I kind of want to create like a collection of items that any member can just utilize as they see fit. Planning on redoing that and renovating that in the fall and in the winter. But just know that being a part of the BFIT membership, if you do choose that annual route, you will be seeing some major upgrades throughout the year as well. So that is one thing I will kind of like disclaim is like, I'm still learning. I'm still also figuring out like my personal style and how I want to continue to approach my membership. Coming from ever since I started BFIT, DBFT back in 2017 officially, I have never done anything from anyone else besides like being coached. You know, I've been coached by my other two coaches for like bodybuilding, but I've never like done someone else's plans or challenges or bought someone else's membership. So when I create what I create, I do it based off of what I believe, you know, I would want to see and how I would want to be, you know, incorporated into a community XYZ. So I'm still learning what I want my membership to look like, as well as just kind of creating it to be tailored to my community, and continue to grow with that. So just a little disclaimer, but something I did want to share again, if you want to take advantage of the massive savings, because yeah, I wanted to do something to celebrate a whole fucking year. Thanks for being here. You know what I'm saying? So other than that, not a bunch of information besides my pregnancy update. I'm officially packing my hospital bag. By this point in time, I might have already packed it. I got a bunch of stuff for my nurse's baskets, which I will be doing in a whole different episode. I kind of want to do like a prep for a baby episode. And then I'm going to be finishing up my like 3-tiered cart, organizing baby clothes and stuff, etc. I did go ahead and get a going home outfit for the baby. I actually have 2 different options because I bought one and then I bought another one, both gender neutral. And then I went ahead and said, fuck it. I also bought a boy and a girl option. Like I just bought like that specific, like I bought something pink and I bought something blue because I also just wanted it to be what I wanted. You know, I was like, this is the last time I'm doing it. If I want something specific, then I want something specific too. Because at the end of the day, when it comes out, we're going to know. So I'm bound to have someone I know have the opposite of whatever I have. So, you know, I'm thinking of it. Girl math is I bought someone's gift early. That's kind of where I'm at. So that is bought, that is taken care of, and now I'm just kind of like playing this waiting game. I am officially in my grunting stage, a lot of noises, a lot of autonomous noises, a lot of, you know, and the other day we were actually driving back from Ohio and my egg bites spilled everywhere that I cut up for Archie. I was like, it's all right, I'll grab them. Mind you, I'm just in the seat of the front car, like the passenger seat. I try to bend forward to even get them. I can't physically bend. I can't even like spread my legs enough to comfortably hinge over. So I'm definitely at that end part of where my body and range of motion is just changing as well. But I will say in this pregnancy, I'm very grateful to have avoided a lot of overall pain. I've probably been my most pain-free in this pregnancy, but I do simultaneously like feel my biggest. But also I'm like, you forget so fast. So I'm sure I was at the same spot with Archie. It's just like you forget. You naturally do. Your body purposely blacks out. So it wants you to do it again and again and again. So as much as I try to think, how much did labor actually hurt last time? It's very hard to like actually say because you purposely like black out. I don't know how to explain it, but if you've been there, you know, okay? I am very anxious and excited to meet this baby. And again, I'm going to do a full birth episode. Probably my birth prep episode will probably come next week. So if you're a mom-to-be, mom that future mom, wants to be mom, this episode will be for you next week. I will tell you that, all right? I think that's kind of it. And let's hop into the episode and just chat a little bit about friendship, lonely seasons of life, and lonely life. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. I talk about BetterHelp a lot, seeing as it's benefited me ever since COVID hit. Most people think that in order to be in therapy or go to therapy, you have to be in this like unbearable state of mind or extremely depressed, when in reality, therapy is a tool to utilize before things get worse, help you avoid the lows, and honestly, even just celebrate the highs. BetterHelp is an online customized therapy program that offers video, phone chat, live chat, so you don't have to even see anyone on camera if you don't want to. You don't have to report to an office, and you could just be in the comfort of nursing your baby in, maybe not the middle of the night, but nursing your baby in private and being able to have someone to talk to during it. It's very therapeutic, it's very customizable, and way more affordable than most in-person therapy. So you can get matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. So give it a try. Use code DESB at checkout or go to betterhelp.com/DESB to get 10% off of your first month. I hope that you guys enjoy it just as much as I do. And honestly, sometimes even just a pop back in for a month here and there is very helpful in and of itself. I can't say that I've been on track for being in therapy for longer than 4 months in the past couple of years, just because life has gotten busy. But to have that to consistently go back to is really great, really convenient, and very affordable. So use BetterHelp code DESB for 10% off your first month. All right, girlies, cheers. Let's take another drink to I would say sober summer, but honestly, when this baby comes out, the first thing I'm doing is I'm going to Silver Beach Pizza and I'm having a fucking schooner. I think it's pronounced schooner of fucking Round Barn sangria. And I'm on that shit like white on rice. Okay, let's cheers. Friendshipless summer. Friendships that end. Summers with no friends. Postpartum summer. Summers as moms. Summers as working individuals that are just busy as fuck. Lots of different reasons for having a summer with no friends. I feel like I'm rolling into my summer with no friends due to the fact that I have 2 kids. I'm already in the trenches, and I just decided to bury myself even further, having this 3rd baby and having 3 kids under the age of 4. That is quite amazing. You know, if you really think of not just making that decision and being crazy in that way, but the body being able to physically have so many pregnancies back to back and just like being built for that is also very crazy and amazing. So, you know what, like giving myself a pat on the back, like go body. And it's actually crazy to think that this body's going to be tapped out after this. I'm really just beep, beep, you know, let me out of here. When's the simulation end? When do I go back to being 21? That's funny. So with that, that's kind of my reasoning for being in a friendshipless summer. But also, I feel like I'm in this era of life, and especially too, I feel like a lot of you guys out here who might also have a sister, whether it's a blood sister, stepsister, maybe a sister-in-law you're just very close with, sometimes just having that one gal pal is all you need. And I always heard it growing up, like I'd rather have 4 shiny quarters than 100 copper pennies, you know, whatever. And I always heard that, and I was like, yeah, but like I like having a lot of friends, you know, like I was always the person with a really big friend group, and I loved that. You know, I loved having multiple friends. I loved having my like volleyball friends, and then my like school friends, and then my travel volleyball friends, and XYZ. It was fun for me. I'm a pretty social person, you know, so by no means am I introverted and like I don't want friends, but I feel like ever since encountering the change of not just COVID, first off, COVID really taught you who you could learn to live without. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, let's just call it how it is. I'm sure for a lot of you guys, even in your own family dynamics, it was like, yeah, you know, I'm glad I haven't seen Aunt Peggy in a year because she's kind of a cunt. You know, COVID really showed those true colors of where your energy can lie and who really adds to that and who subtracts. So ever since COVID, on top of them maneuvering into this stage of life as a mom, it is so fucking hard to have friends. It's hard to have friends that are also moms because we're all busy dying daily. And then it's also hard to have friends that aren't moms because as much as I love you and you're more available, I feel like a burden to you and you can't always meet me where I'm at. Right? So like I have a friend right now who I've become friends with, I should say, in the past couple of months. And she's just like about to get married, and she's so fucking nice. She's so sweet, and she really does have the kindest heart, to where she is very respectful of, you know, understanding to at least the most degree she can of what I kind of do and what I have to go through XYZ and what I have to balance. With that, we've done a few things, but then even then I haven't seen her in a couple of weeks. And I feel like shit because I haven't even reached out, when in reality, I don't have fucking time. And I also know she understands that, but I'm like, do you understand though? Cause like, I promise I like you. Like, I can't extend that energy to you, you know? And so I'm hoping to meet up with her soon. But regardless, my point being is that, it's kind of a difficult water to tread, difficult passage to navigate. Okay. So that's my friend with no kids. And I have another friend with no kids who, again, she understands it completely as much as possible. And I enjoy it. But then who do I end up default hanging out with? It's always my sister. So if you're someone who has a sister, you kind of get it. They become your built-in bestie in most cases. But then you're kind of like left to wonder, okay, well, where am I going to find other friends? And, a lot of times too in your adult life, I feel like after you reach a certain age, you become even more in tune with yourself. So I think back of like when I was 24, when I was 25, even when I was 26, I had Maddox. And at this time, even at 26, I was pregnant with Archie. It was still me learning who I was. So in your early 20s, you have these ideas and visions of who you're going to be in your 30s or 40s or even just in the future. And it's funny how quick a lot of that can shift, a lot of that can change, and a lot of that can just go away. And so during that time, you often hook to people who are aligned with that future version of yourself that you see, right? Or the current present version. In reality, that version of yourself is always altering, always changing. And often I feel like if you're someone who has lost friendships in the past, which we all have, and you kind of can spiral in your own head and be like, oh my gosh, am I the bad friend? Am I the piece of shit? Am I the person who ruined the friendship? And at the end of the day, there's not always this reason for ruining a friendship. It's just you're not in the same spot, right, as you once were, and you have to continue to kind of move forward, and things naturally just kind of fall apart. I've talked about this in my previous episodes prior where I talk about kind of like friendship breakups. Sometimes you can kind of break up without there being much of a last word because it doesn't have to be so negative. It's just, hey, we don't align anymore. What's done is done. What more is there to say? Like, are we supposed, like, you don't have to sit there and verbally break up with each other like you would a normal relationship. So if you're going through a transformation in your life right now, maybe even just you move jobs and so you don't work with the same coworkers. It's like, I don't think your coworkers are going to expect you to hit them up and be like, hey, Jill, sorry, we're like not really friends anymore. It's like, that's a part of being a fucking adult. Like put your adult pants on and realize that things are going to shift and things are going to change. And it doesn't mean that there was always a right or a wrong or a wrong or a wrong or anyone wronged each other, or anyone did something right. It was just, it is what it is. And I feel like that has been a huge thing in my life ever since entering probably my late teens to now, moving forward into almost my 30s. You just realize that some things, especially in relationships, whether it's platonic or like not platonic, that some things are just better left unsaid. Nonetheless, sometimes there's just nothing left to be said. And you don't have to go and fucking pick sides and be crazy. And I think that's the one toxic part about just having online anything. Like even just, I see people post to Facebook, right? And it's like, oh fuck, they're not posting with, say it's a relationship. Oh my God, they're not posting with John anymore. What happened? It's like, it doesn't always have to be negative, but that's the part about sharing our lives publicly that can be so annoying, is that you feel like you always have to put out this like fucking public PSA of, hey, like all is well. We're just different people. It's like you don't owe that to anyone either. So if you're going into a new phase of life and, maybe one of your best friends or even a family member like isn't a part of that phase of your life anymore, it is what it is. Like no one needs to know an explanation. And in my opinion, I think when people over explain or continue to like make remarks about it, it comes off to me more immature, because it's like, it just doesn't, why add more fuel to a fire when there wasn't even a fire to begin with, and make it something that it wasn't. It's just kind of one of those things like, stop digging and just, continue to flourish in your own way. And the people that are for you and aligned with you will be there, So that's kind of like been a huge trend in my life over the past couple, 10, 12 years, right? Like I've changed. Oh my God, I hope you have too. Right? Like, holy fuck, 10 to 12 years, even, I would argue even 5. Let's just use COVID as a start date. I hope you have transformed since then. You know what I mean? I hope you've matured. I hope you've evolved. I hope you've learned things. learn things about yourself. Like that's huge. And especially if you're someone who's transformed in the past couple of years of expanding your family, getting married, or having some like big, life milestones, you're going to change through those. And again, it doesn't mean that, let's back it up. Let's say that you were a shitty friend. We've all been a shitty friend. We've all been a shitty friend. If you can't admit that, you're also in fucking denial. Like, it doesn't mean that you've caused someone anguish and you've killed their cat or something like that. But we've all had moments of being a shitty partner, whether it's in a friendship, a relationship, work environment, school environment, whatever. We've been a shitty friend, person, etc. To admit that is fine. To have that experience maybe with the friendship, okay, cool. What are you going to do? Like, at the end of the day, what's done is done. You move forward. You learn a better way to communicate. You learn a better way to go about things, or you don't, have sex with someone's husband or boyfriend, like, I don't know, whatever, right? It's like you learn, and it doesn't mean that you were in the right at all. But if you can own that and continue to also press forward, sometimes those are the hard lessons that you may learn as well. So if you're going through a transition right now of friendships where things, again, maybe aren't aligning, or you just are in a different spot and different people are calling out to you, or, I see this a lot as people become sober and then their friends that still drink, it just doesn't like align anymore. It doesn't mean what they're doing is wrong. It just means that your new lifestyle, your new decisions have led to maybe a different friend group or people who, again, align with kind of where you're at in that season and situation and choice. And that's okay too. So friendships, you can become friendshipless for a multitude of reasons. But specifically, it can be hard too when you're in the process of like moving or anything. So to kind of speak to that, if you're someone who is now going through a transformation of maybe you're not losing friends, it's just you've lost your hometown, you've lost the space where you met your friends or whatever it might be, that can also be in and of itself really difficult because you want to put yourself out there, but then the people that you move to this new area, maybe they already have their set friends, and then it feels like you can't come into their friend group, or you have to like earn this spot. And it can kind of feel like that middle school basketball again, where it's like, okay, you pick, and it's like, I want her. And then the other, coach picks, and they're like, I want her. And then you're like the last one standing and no one picked you. That's how it feels when you are trying to become a part of a new friend group. It can be really discouraging, and also incredibly vulnerable. All things that are very okay. But the biggest thing is, if you're going into a friendshipless summer, is figuring out how you can use this time to either, number one, self-discover with yourself more, or number two, get uncomfortable and go make those new friends. As an adult, it does take energy. It does take time. And you do have to invest energy into relationships to build them, to keep them, etc. I think that's the one thing that a lot of people then lose in some friendships when they end up having children or husbands, etc., is that the energy that you spend during the day keeping the relationship going with your husband, keeping the relationship going with your kids, learning about your kids, learning then about yourself, after those relationships for the day, where do you have the extra expenditure of energy to then want to be friends with other people? And again, that sounds terrible because in your mind, you're like, oh my gosh, you must just not be a people person. It's like, well, like I am, but I'm also a bed person. I'm also a sleep person. I'm also I need my own space person, and I need to refuel my battery person. So at the end of all of my relationships for the day that I'm trying to juggle, maintain, including like family, right? Talking to your mom, talking to your dad, talking to your grandpa, whoever you kind of have around you. Where do I have the time to go out and make new friends? So there are quite few new apps out there, like what is it, like Bumble, BFF. There's, the Peanut app for moms and stuff like that. And I think as I go into this next postpartum experience, I personally would love to put myself out there a little bit more, even if it's just once a month, to go converse. And I think that's the kind of era that I'm in right now. I don't necessarily have the energy to have a lot of friends, but I do want to make the time and energy to simply converse and have human interaction. So instead of it being so deep and, let's share our deepest, darkest secrets and let's have like a slumber party and, XYZ, it might not look like that for me right now, but I do want to go out of my way to just like meet new people, shake some hands, kiss some babies, and have maybe a relationship that I could build down the road when I'm in a better mental spot, when I'm in a better time spot, etc., to kind of bloom that and blossom that. But when you're in the trenches of especially motherhood, and I am not by any means taking away from anyone else's situation that you could be in right now, but it is just a really hard place to try to expand into friendships, relationships, and more when it feels like you can barely fucking take care of yourself. And if you're not taking care of yourself, you're not going to be a good fucking friend for anyone, no matter what, right? So putting that at like the premise for me is important. But I do like if there's like a mom's club or like a stroller meetup, like those are the things that I would want to go to, right? I've also really been putting myself out there with like weekly classes at my gym, and even just going there and having those few people you always see, you know, hey Donna, hey Sue, hey Karen. It's like that can still be enough to kind of fuel that human interaction that we all desire. But I feel like we don't always need to be in a season of life where we do have friends. As we grow up, we always think of like, oh my gosh, I want a best friend. I remember always wanting that. I don't know why. Maybe it was because since I had a sister, I felt like, okay, well, but like I want to have someone else. I want to have someone else that's not her. You know, and I don't know maybe if that's like a root thing or if that's a real thing. I don't know. But I did want the experience of having like a best friend. And throughout elementary, middle school, high school, like I had quite a few best friends that were, you know, let's hang out every weekend. Let's do what we can. We play sports together. We do this together. We do all the things together. And as I've gotten older, it's like I feel like you think you need to keep that same energy of like having a best friend when in reality, the perception of what a best friend is also shifts too. So I feel like part of our younger selves that are still, you know, in our body naturally wants to grasp to that idea of like, oh, I have a best friend. I'm a friend of someone else likes me just as much. Like it's that little bit of affirmation too. And it's almost like this golden star. Like you see these people on especially like social media or something, and you see them all hanging out with their like best friend, and then you're like, man, I must be a shitty person because like I don't have a best friend. Like am I actually like fucked up? Am I boring? Is my life boring? It kind of is like a flex to have a best friend. Like which is cool, like good for you, but it can make you feel like you and I right now maybe feel a little bit like, oh my God, am I just like not likable? Am I boring? Am I not making enough time? But like, when do I have time? You know, you start to spiral and you're like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I have someone who feels that way around about me or whatever? When in reality, that just might not be the season of life you're in anymore. Nonetheless, you won't maybe revisit until you're older. You know, like I think of my mom, and she had probably one or two good friends as I grew up. Like I remember like her present friends that were always kind of maybe around when I was around, or I would hang out with their kids when my mom and them would hang out. And fast forward to now, my mom doesn't have many friends that she still hangs out with. And it's because she chooses to spend her relationships and her time with me, my sister, my brother, her husband, our family, and then her grandkids. So it's like your perception of, okay, who is my best friend? It can shift because it's not always going to be a person outside of your family. And if you're grateful enough and blessed enough that it is a family member, that's great. I know not everyone has the best family dynamics, and I totally understand. But if it is and it ends up being your family, that's also like okay too. Like that's the beauty of having a family and of creating that lineage and that big surrounding table. It's like you look around and ultimately, in a perfect world, right? Family has you for life, you know, and so it's a special, intimate bond that is very different than, you know, someone on the outside who might also have their own family. So friendships can be, you know, flowing and flourishing, and they can look different, but you don't always have to be chasing this idea, I think, of like having a best friend, which I think I did for just way too long. And at the end of the day, I think I ended up forcing a lot of friendships into a boundary that I thought I had to uphold, even myself. You know, oh, I always have to make time to do this. I always have to go out of my way to make sure I'm asking about this and that. And it's like when you don't have that energy or space in your mental plate, it doesn't make you a bad person. It's just you are in a different part of life that you have to focus on. And especially when you have a family, it's your fucking family. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and if you're still in a good mental place, a best friend isn't going to make that mental health different. So if you don't have a best friend, if you don't even have a lot of friends, that's fine. Like, if you're flourishing yourself, friends don't fucking matter. Like, no offense, it's like, if you're vibing, you got your shit in, I don't want to say in a row, because let's be honest, none of us have our shit in a row. But if we have our shit together, we're feeling good, and we're doing what we want to do every day, we wake up and we lay down on the pillow and we're, fulfilled, full of gratitude and feeling blessed. Fuck friends. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes it's like more friends, more problems. It's so fucking real. It's so true. Sometimes it's just better to stay to yourself, and it doesn't have to mean also forever. It could just be the season that you're in. And so I'm saying honor that, because, again, I look at my mom now, and she does go out still a lot, quite often with some new friends. She'll go out, she'll get dinner, but again, it's very surface level, right? It's not, let's have kumbaya slumber parties and go to mosh pit parties together. It's just very surface level. How are you? I'm still here for you. I still care for you. Sorry that we can't, be besties like we would have been if we were 17 again. But here's what this relationship looks like now at almost 50, and that's kind of like where I'm at. Granted, I'm not 50, I'm almost 30, but it's like, hey, to my friends, to my people who maybe just only feel like acquaintances now, it's not you. It's also, I would argue, not me. Don't put the blame on yourself. It's this season of life. I see you. I wish the best for you. I'm thinking of you, and keep growing. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't have to be anyone being in the wrong. It's just, if anything, maybe wrong place, wrong time. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and so I don't know. I just felt like that was on my heart, because I asked you guys on the Instagram, I said, what do you guys want to, talk about? And some people said the relationship, like the friendship season of motherhood, and the aspect of like feeling like you don't have friends. And I think that's where I really fell into my support system, that I'm very grateful to be around. Now, if you're someone who's not in that same position, I can also speak to that, because I was, during COVID, away from family, even away from my in-laws. We lived way far away from everyone on top of COVID. It was a very isolating time. But again, it really showed me what I needed, who I needed, and more so who I needed for me. Who did I need to be? Who did I need to grow into? What fuels me? Because at the end of the day, anyone can fuck you over. Anyone can leave. Anyone can move states. Like, it's not, again, doesn't have to be negative. It's just like anything could happen. And at the end of the day, what do you need so that you can be the best for the other people around you who are around you at the time, XYZ. So it's just been an evolving time. And I can totally understand where people online are just like feeling so isolated. And I think that's why we're all online a lot, is because a lot of you guys even here, maybe you don't have that friend. So you listen to my podcast every Sunday. Like, that is the beauty of the online space. It really is. But also it can be such a downfall, because, if we compare ourselves to other people, we might think, damn, I have like no friends, or I have no life, or my life's boring, or wow, I wish I could go on a trip. I wish I could do this. And it's very easy to also get in our own minds when we very much shouldn't. We're all living such a different life for a different reason. And I think I've really tried to hone into that even myself lately, is, comparison is the thief of joy. And that is probably the most realest, rawest quote in the history of life, in my opinion. Like, it's so true, because when you kind of tunnel vision on yourself and find that gratitude in what you're doing, how you're feeling, how you're performing, and if you can, like, look up and smile, that's all that matters. Everyone else's reality is so different, and the grass is always greener, and the grass is greener where you water it. If you had someone else's life, it still wouldn't be all rainbows. Like, there's still stuff everyone has to deal with, including, even on the celebrity side. Now, I would argue, if I woke up tomorrow as Kylie Jenner, I would probably be fucking okay. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'd be fine. Okay. But it's so true that, even they have their own inner demons. We're all human and just trying to make it. And especially, again, we all just want that affirmation that we have people by our side, that we're going to stick through everything with us, and, whatever it might be. And I feel like that's where it can be really embarrassing to feel like you don't have friends, because it makes you feel unlikable, and then it makes you think of what other people are perceiving you as, and it's like, oh yeah, of course she doesn't have friends, like she's a bitch, or she's boring, or she whatever. It's like, so then again, we spiral off of other people's perceptions of us, when in reality, when I personally see someone like without friends, you know, or just kind of vibing on their own, I'm like, damn, they must be self-sufficient as fuck. They don't need anyone else. They don't need any other, you know, problems. They're just vibing. They're thankful. They're chilling with their life, whatever. So it's like, don't put words in other people's mouth, you know? So head into your friendshipless summer, slaying, sliving, and sloving selfishly for yourself. Okay. I hope that made sense. I don't know. I kind of, you know, when I get on these rants, I just kind of talk from my heart and where I'm feeling. And I would say I talk from my brain, but I'm like, where is that right now? I like, don't know. I also feel like I controlled my breath pretty well, throughout this episode. So you have to give me a motherfucking thumbs up. Give me a fucking review. Throw me a goddamn bone if I did good. Controlling my breath work during this episode. So I love you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me again. Just kind of vibing right now. You know, I'm in this season of, I want to get back to like doing podcasts and keep having fun. I don't want to say get back to it, because I always have fun doing podcasts, but like, not put so much pressure on myself, especially in this latter part of pregnancy is more specifically what I mean, because it's been really hard. Like, it's been a really hard past couple weeks, just getting to the end and having a lot of other things that I'm trying to align and get in line in general prior to, you know, having to go into the depths of having a newborn again, right? So it's like, I feel like I'm like trying to prepare and nest and, you know, get these curtains hung up and like do this and then get the pregnancy plan done and promote the BFIT membership and still get clients. And like, it's a lot to manage on top of just, you know, being still a mom and like being me, having time for me and doing things for my mental health, doing things with my husband. And, you know, it's just, life's a lot, you know, life is a lot. And at the end of the day, it doesn't slow down. So picking and choosing what needs to get done has just it's been hard, but also I'm really proud of myself. Cause like I said, last week, it was like, you know what, this podcast can't get done, and that's okay. No one's going to die from me not putting out a podcast. Now, I did get quite a few of you like, bitch, where's the new podcast? Which I'm glad that you're someone who's like, you know, a weekly listener and you're looking forward to it. And at the end of the day, that's what I do it for. I do it for you guys. I do it for the couple thousand of you that, you know, tune in and want to hear what's up. Like, that's what I do it for. I do it for my 1%ers who are still listening right now. So yeah, thanks for hanging out with me. I don't know why I wore my sunglasses the whole time. Honestly, it's really dark outside right now. It's kind of stormy. And so the ring light is really fucking bright. And I just honestly popped these fuckers on and kind of forgot I had them on. So I look like a mixture of an athletic pregnant woman while also looking kind of like a trucker. And that's okay, because my dad's a trucker and always has been. And I respect the trucking industry, you know, slay on. Love you guys. Happy Sunday. We will be preparing for birth as of next week. Oh, let's go.